welcome to another episode of Not Too Deep. I'm your host, Grace Helbig. Today we have activist, model, and new podcast host, Tess Holliday with us. She is, as you guessed it, so cool, so lovely, so funny. We talk about our shared love for Are You the One on MTV. She shares with us some insanely horrific dating stories, and we talk all about her new podcast, Slumber Party. So enjoy this episode of Not Too Deep with the incredibly lovely Tess Holliday. Tess, which cat is this?
It's Smokey. Yeah, I have two cats, Smokey and Bandit.
How'd you get them?
Well, when I was married to my ex who sucked, he loved cats. And in order to like make him feel more comfortable moving from Australia to America, I was like, let's get cats. But he moved back to Australia and I've got cats, which is fine. I love them. But you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, also a true sign of suckage to leave the pussies behind.
Exactly. 100%.
Tess, I am intimidated by how cool you are. And so I'm really excited to talk to you about a variety of things. The first being that I think you are one of the most incredible people at handling all the bullshit that gets thrown at you online. And I am curious, are you exhausted? How do you deal with all of that all the time?
I mean, yeah, I'm fucking exhausted. You know, I just hired a social media manager about 3 months ago, and it sounds pretentious, but really what it came down for me was I had to protect my own mental health because a lot of my work is advocacy. Like I started out as a model, but that was really like a vessel to get to what I actually care about, which is advocacy. So, you know, I can't collectively be part of changing and shifting things when people online are treating me like I'm a subpar human because of my size.
I think that's a great and, responsible shift for you and for, the audience that's looking at you, because I mean, I've done stuff online for the last 10 years and the desire to clap back is great and wonderful, but it's also like draining. And how can you stay, your authentic self if you're like constantly trying to correct people that don't even care to be corrected?
Absolutely. Yeah. One of my favorite quotes, it's one of those like anonymous quotes.
Yep, we love anonymous. Is so prolific, it's incredible.
It's truly iconic. So it says basically never waste your time explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. And like sometimes I clap back for fun. Like I love a good your mom or your dad joke. People will be like, well,
the classics.
They're like, how did you get that fat? I don't know, ask your dad. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Or you're taking up all the room in that hot tub. And I was like, weird, because your mom's in here too.
See, those will never, forever have the sense of humor of a 13-year-old boy. So those will never get old for me.
Same,
You also are no stranger to memes, which I love so much that so much of your Instagram will be like a really beautiful message and then you swipe through and it's just a meme.
I love memes. They're so stupid. I don't know if it's because I'm old and from the MySpace era and it just reminds me of that. But I just think like, people put too much pressure on social media, myself included, and especially with engagement and all of that fucking with you. So I just decided like, I'm just going to post what I want. Fuck the algorithm. And those little meme dumps make me so happy.
They make me so happy as someone that follows you. So you're doing the Lord's work, I think.
Yay.
So you said you grew up with MySpace. Have you always been on social media then in some form?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I knew that everything I wanted to do was probably a little too ambitious for my upbringing. So and I had a hard time making friends. So social media was always kind of how I made friends, how I connected. And I loved MySpace, like loved it. I miss it. I would like, people would pay me to do the HTML coding and make their pages cool.
Really?
And yeah.
So you're a self-taught coder?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I haven't done it in so long, but I could still throw down some codes for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What was your aesthetic on your MySpace?
Oh, thanks for asking. So my name on MySpace was Ryan the Girl, because my legal name is Ryan with 2 N's. And obviously that was like before we respected pronouns and just assumed that everyone had 2 genders, right? So my bad. But
we were so young.
We were. So I was Ryan the Girl, and my page, my most popular page was bats, and my little cursor was like a flying bat around it. And I would play like horror pops, like it was like rockabilly.
Amazing.
You know, it was, I was just really trying to be cool, you know, be edgy.
It was a full vibe, it sounds like, before we understood what that was.
Yeah.
How did you get into fashion entertainment? I know you were a makeup artist previously.
Yeah. So I had always wanted to model. I had started doing makeup because I got a rejection when I was like 16. Basically, they were like, "You're never going to model." And I thought, all right, let's back burner this. And listen, I had no business going into fashion. Everyone knows I grew up in a trailer park in my grandparents' cow pasture in Mississippi. We didn't have money. Access to fashion at someone at my size, whether that was a size 16 growing up or now my size, now it's easier, but like growing up, it was impossible. So, but I loved fashion and I wanted to pursue it. And I moved to LA after doing makeup in Seattle for a few years to be with my partner at the time. And within 6 months of moving, I had photos of myself on Model Mayhem, which is such a corny site. It's funny because like I just feel like Model Mayhem should have like recognized me over the years as much as I've talked about them, but like no recognition. It's fine.
I fully looked up what was it, Barbizon or whatever? In like Philadelphia. Like I'm from New Jersey, and so I was full teenager being like, my glamour shots were pretty good, so Barbizon's gonna love me.
Absolutely. Yeah. I actually came across my first headshots that I took, and I had white eyeliner on, I had cowhide shoes on, a silver ruched top, and some black capri pants. And I'm laying to the side. Like this. It was so embarrassing. And I thought I was doing something. I was like, I am going places. Yeah.
I am the moment right now. I feel like you should recreate that at some point. It deserves an update.
I'll tag you if I do, for sure.
Please do. I also heard that you faked being your own manager. I think you mentioned this on one of your podcast episodes. That's so impressive to me.
Well, people weren't taking me seriously. And there's it's a quick story that I'll tell, but basically when I started out, I created a Facebook like fan page after I got kind of my first big break. And my friend was like, create this Facebook fan page. And I'm like, that's so narcissistic, because that was before like we had like Instagram and all of that thing. So
totally.
God, old. So I created this fan page. I got it amassed in like a year. I had like over 100,000 followers. And so I was reaching out to brands on my behalf to try to get clothes for shoots. And this company, who will remain unnamed, popular lingerie company, emailed me back. And instead of emailing me, instead of emailing their boss, they emailed me. And they were like, we don't know who this girl is. We don't have anything that will fit her, but she has a lot of followers on Facebook. So maybe we should consider, but like, we don't love her vibe. And I responded to it and was like, I think you meant to send this to so-and-so regardless. So I had to, and that was as me. So after that, I was like, I'm going to pretend to be myself and make up names. And it worked. People would book me thinking that they were talking to, whatever name I was using before anyone would take me seriously. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I can barely maintain my own email address. So kudos to you for catfishing everyone in the best way possible.
Thank you.
Well, now you do a lot of collaborations that seem very thoughtful, and it seems very authentic to, what your brand is and who you are. How do you go about now working with the companies and the brands that you do?
Thanks for asking that. And also thanks for saying that, because I can honestly say, with the exception of one fast fashion brand, I have never partnered with anyone that did not feel good to me. And my role is, if I wouldn't genuinely use this or sell it to my best friend or my family, I'm not going to use it. And so before I partner with the brand, I make sure that they are diverse. I make sure that they have folks of color working for them. I make sure that if I can, that it's ethically made and sourced, cruelty free. And I also have to try whatever product before I partner with them. So if they'll send it to me, if I like it and I believe in it, I'll use it. And if I don't, I won't. And that, I will tell you, Grace, that sucks sometimes, because I see my peers who are great, but maybe their moral compass is different, which is fine. Yeah. And I'm like, damn, you got all this money and you're doing this. And I do well for myself. I'm not complaining, but it's hard to have integrity in this industry.
It's something I'm learning a lot about, especially in the last year or two, that, and I think a lot of people that are creating in the digital space and working with brands and collaborating in that way are understanding the necessity to investigate. Like, you have to do some legwork if you want to, represent yourself and whoever you're representing authentically. And it does take some time, and it is kind of shitty, especially if you find out something shitty about a brand that you once thought was great. And you're like, well, damn.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I say you as in like me, us, whatever. You have to look at it as like, longevity. Like, what do you want? And you want people to trust you. And how are they going to trust you if you're selling a bunch of shit you don't believe in? But listen, there's a ton of people that have made billions doing that. So,
the family will remain nameless here.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You have a new podcast, the Slumber Party podcast. How is that going?
It's so much fun. It's a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. But it's just been so much fun introducing my audience to folks that inspire me and I feel make the world a better place. And, I love slumber parties, even at my ripe old age of 35.
Hey, I'm also 35. Yep. Yes. I love it. I feel like I haven't left being a teenager.
No, I mean, we don't have to. So I love having pajama parties and sleepovers. And so when the podcast kind of came to fruition, I was like, let's do something I love and have fun with it. So I'm 2 episodes away from finishing season 1. And then I'm going to take some time off for my birthday month.
Nice.
And then get back to it.
Has it felt nice to be able to kind of speak unfiltered on the podcast?
Yeah, I think that people are really realizing what an idiot I am. There's a facade, there's a facade you can keep up. When you're a model and you're doing public speaking and little bits of TV, people get doses. But what they don't get is like me deciding to write an episode and have like Benton Ray, who's a comedian. One of the dares was reenact sizzling bacon for 30 seconds. And so he sizzled, and then I was like making sizzling sounds in the mic, and
like if you're stoned, that's probably like the most brilliant piece of art you can listen to or watch.
Well, I was stoned when I wrote it, so that adds
up. Do you have a dream podcast guest that you haven't had on yet?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that what I'm about to say is not realistic. I hear you. I see you. I know my feelings are valid. It's Dolly Parton.
Oh, God, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
You never know.
I feel like she's a little trickster that suddenly she does something like just out of the goodness of her heart because she thinks it's interesting and cool.
But she's an angel. Yeah.
We'll manifest.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I have a bunch more questions for you. So we'll be right back with more Not Too Deep. Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig. Hello, listeners. Grace Helbig here, wanting to say two things. A big thank you for listening to the podcast. If you're a regular listener, if this is your first time listening, welcome and thank you. And second thing, if you are enjoying yourself here in this not too deep world we've built and you'd like to leave us a review, that would be so wonderful. If you can go to the iTunes store, the App Store, and leave us a lovely little review, comment. How are you feeling? Good, bad, otherwise? Maybe just good or otherwise would be appreciated. Other than that, enjoy the podcast. Have you ever had a tattoo removed?
No, but there's one. Okay, I'm posting a reels like of me getting a haircut, and when I do the flip over, you can see my tattoo on my shoulder that I want to get removed, and it is a fairy on my left shoulder blade that looks like it's been smashed with a fly swatter. It was my first tattoo because I was really, I loved fairies. You couldn't tell me shit when I was 18. And so now I've got this like fairy, but now it's kind of like, God, I'm covered in all these great tattoos and then I just have a fucking fairy on my shoulder. So do I just keep it forever? I don't know.
Yeah. Can you build on it and make it cooler than what it is currently?
I could probably. I'm open to suggestion.
Do you have more tattoos lined up to get?
Yeah, I have an appointment tomorrow to get another tattoo. Yeah, I'm just constantly, I just thought, I'm fat as shit. I might as well just cover it in tattoos. So I'm filling my legs right now. So I'm like, nice. I would say 60% done with filling my legs. So I'm just getting stupid stuff at this point.
I mean, why not? How long is the longest that you've sat for a tattoo?
The longest I've sat was probably my right arm that has like Dolly and Miss Piggy and Mae West.
Wow.
So that artist is very slow. I love him, but he just, it's great. Look, here I am criticizing one of the world's best tattoo artists.
I know, it looks incredible.
So each session is about 13 hours.
Wow.
So yeah, when you go there that you're going to be there for a while. So the longest I've sat was 13 hours.
And how do you find the tattoo artists that you want to work with? Is it that you know them previously or you've been recommended them or you find them like on Instagram?
A little bit of both, like most of the people I get tattooed now, I've kind of met just because I love their work. Most of the people that tattoo me now are women or, identify as female. And yeah, I just am a tattoo collector without sounding pretentious. And I just want a bunch of cool people to like put their art on me. And usually how it works is I just go to them and say, I want a tattoo. I have this space. What do you feel like doing? And do it.
Cool. So it's like a true collaboration. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get into the two questions that I ask every single guest that is on our podcast. And the first is, who, alive or dead, would you most like to throw cold spaghetti at?
Ooh.
Yeah.
God, that is such a good question.
It's tough.
Probably, God, you don't have a lot of time for me to just sit. I mean, listen.
No, you can take a second and think about it.
I just don't want to be
smoky fill-in.
I know. My first thing that comes to my head was Trump.
Yeah, that is a popular answer.
But I want to give something that's not that. I would say, honestly, the next one, probably Rush Limbaugh.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Honestly, when he passed away, I was just like, great, iconic,
I think I
peace.
breathed out. Was like,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
The world got a little bit cooler, I guess. I don't know. Is it horrible
Lighter?
to say?
I don't know. Yeah.
Nicer, more respectable.
Yeah.
Okay, the other question I ask every single guest is to tell us your worst pants shitting story or like a bathroom emergency situation, but you can only use 3 words or like small phrases to describe the event. So for me, it's college, jogging, front lawn.
Okay, so mine is...
I love that you have one immediately.
Oh, honestly, you are talking to someone with so much trauma that is tied to their intestinal system.
Same.
So anytime I'm nervous, anxious, I will shit.
Yep.
Yeah. It's great. Honestly, Grace, you and I should just hang out and just see how much we can shit all over LA.
Honestly, I know. I have 2 squatty potties in my house now because I lost one when I moved before.
Great. I'll bring another one for you.
Thank you.
So mine would be freeway.
Okay.
Car, freeway, car.
You can do small phrases too.
Okay, so freeway, both ends. Exit ramp.
Exit ramp as a metaphor and a literal device.
I also need you to know that this was one of the nicest exits in Pasadena that this happened. A really fancy, like where you would want to do your shopping, in a nice area.
Yeah. Those are the best places to just level them a little bit when they feel a little too nice.
Yeah. It was great.
Well, now we have a part of our podcast that we call Hot or Deep, where you can choose to give us a hot take on a subject we have, or you can choose to answer a deep question that we have prepared for you.
I'm going to do the hot take one.
Okay. Hot take for you, it's TikTok. Mm-hmm. Any hot takes on TikTok?
Like, how do I feel about it?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on TikTok? As someone that came from the MySpace era, like the very inaugural social media that has ever existed, now we're through to the TikTok present day. Thoughts on the...
So I love TikTok. I'm a kind of later to the game. I literally downloaded it during the pandemic, like everybody else, but like July. Yep. So late in the pandemic. And I've decided Instagram is not bringing me joy. So with TikTok, I just go on and I just post stupid shit and I don't give a shit if it does well or not. And usually they do well. And funny enough, Grace, nobody else knows this. Not even, I told my mom, but that's it. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. There is someone that made a video asking me out on TikTok and I am going on a date with this person and I've never met them on Saturday.
This has all of the smells like entrapment, but I also support you. This was a person that asked you out via TikTok. Have you done any like recon, like looking up any? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. This person is legit. They are who they say they are. We've FaceTimed a few times.
Okay. So you've literally had some conversations with this person.
We are. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I don't think that it's going to go past a first date, but I am the actual devil.
I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. I'm the actual devil when it comes to dating and I just want to have fun. So,
What's a good date in your eyes? Like what's a fun date for you?
I just went on a date recently that was so good. And I would probably see this person again, but they're like busy and traveling and whatever. But we like went to dinner, then we went to a whiskey bar. The person didn't try to have sex with me, which was great.
Wow.
Which I'm not like I don't sleep with somebody on the first date. I don't care.
Right.
But it's nice to have somebody like get to know you. But me, like, I don't really give a shit what we do, but I have had way more dating horror stories than good stories. Like
what's one of the worst ones?
All right. Well, I just shared I did Paris Hilton's podcast like recently, and I shared a really horrible one, but I'm going to share the one with you that was probably the worst date that I've been on. So this was like 4 months ago. I matched with this guy on Tinder, and yeah, I was on Tinder. I deleted it right after this. I'm queer, so I knew better than to date a cis man, but I was like, let's play with fire. I don't know. Let's see what happens. So
let's fuck shit up for a second.
Yeah. So we met in the evening. He said we were going to go to dinner. So we met, this was in Long Beach. So we go to Long Beach, we meet at the location that he says. I am wearing a dress and these expensive shoes and a cute little purse. And he goes, hey, the restaurant's booked. There's no availability. Do you just want to walk and get a drink? The thing is, I knew where we were at. So I knew that we couldn't go walk and get a drink because the only thing near us, I don't know how to say this. The only thing near us was a Jack in the Box and a 7-Eleven.
Okay. Yeah.
So we start walking. And the thing is, everyone was like, why didn't you leave? And I just wanted to see what was going to happen. So,
right. Like, what's the plan?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So we walked to 7-Eleven, and him being the gentleman he is, went to the beer section and said, what beer you want? And I was like, wow, what a guy, what a guy. So I picked Coors Light tall cans. He pays for them, of course, because he's a gentleman,
Chivalry is not dead. Yeah.
Oh, not dead. So then we walk all the way over. We walk through the sand under a pier, pitch black. And do you think he brought a blanket to sit on the beach and drink these beers? Do you think he thought ahead? Why would he? So he plops down in the sand. Mind you, his outfit is atrocious. And I was like looking past that. And then he gets my beers and he shoves them in the sand and kind of corked them in the sand just to make sure they were sticking in there. And then he proceeded to ask me if I wanted to fuck. So
oh my God.
And I drank half the beer, and then I was like, I'm gonna go. We start walking back to my car, and he's like, you didn't finish your beers. He stops underneath the pier to chug the whole other tall can I didn't open and the half that I didn't drink, and then thought that I was still going to have sex with him.
That is, wow. That's like a level of unself-awareness that is infuriating.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if he had any reflection on the date negatively, or in his mind he's like, fucking nailed it again.
I know that I need to wrap this up, but I just also need to tell you, this person didn't know who I was. Okay. So he didn't know that I was like Tess Holliday. Right. So that doesn't matter, but I kind of just was like, can you imagine you get to take me on a date and this is what you do? But he then asked me if I could give him a ride home.
Oh my God.
I didn't. I told him to call an Uber, and he goes, I'll just walk. And I go, but how did you get here? And then he just walks off in the distance with his granddaddy loafers and his cargo shorts.
This sounds like a dream. This sounds like
I wish
nightmare,
that it was.
Actually.
Yeah.
That is incredible and like so hard to listen to. Just like does he have any friends to like, how did he learn to go on dates? It's insane.
He also was watching the Lakers game on his phone while we were sitting in the sand, and then I picked up my phone to text somebody, and he's like, what you doing on your phone? And I was like,
God,
are you kidding me?
At that point, I would be like, where are the cameras? I'm clearly on a prank show. You can't exist in the world. This is This is an insane, unfair, and very selfish date for you, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's always good to get perspective, I guess, on how bad things could go on dates.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious, switching topics, what do you watch? Do you watch TV? Do you watch movies?
I do. I think I saw that. Well, I saw this like thing circulating on TikTok, where I get all of my information these days. And I've learned so much from TikTok. That's another thing.
Same. I only just got into it a few months ago. So I'm even like later than you are on TikTok. And it overwhelmed me too much at first. And now I'm like, I get it. It has energy like first era YouTube energy where everyone's just having fun and like people are just posting whatever they want without trying to game an algorithm or anything.
For sure. It's so much. It's so fun. It really is. I mean, at least for now. And I realize I don't have to be able to dance to use TikTok. So that's that's great because I can't dance. Maybe I might do a singing career. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
see how it goes.
So what was I saying? Oh, TikTok. Oh, wait, what the fuck was the question?
You saw something on TikTok related to TV?
Yeah. So they were saying that people with like, anxious thought patterns or whatever tend to watch the same shit over and over and over and over, like on loop. Yeah. So for me, that is New Girl. That's The Office, Parks and Rec, Schitt's Creek. Those are kind of like my four. But now what I'm super into, and I can't stop watching it. There's two. There's Are You the One on MTV.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
It is,
yeah.
And there's a queer season.
Yes, I watched this.
By the way, I just DM'd Basit and I was like, I'm obsessed with you. And now we follow each other. And I'm just like, if you break up with your girlfriend, call me Basit. Just saying.
Amazing. Amazing.
And then I love Temptation Island. Like I'm obsessed with Temptation Island.
See, I haven't gotten into that one. I'm just dipping my toe in the pond of Love Island. And but Are You the One? I got really into like a year or two ago. Because in terms of like MTV reality shows, it's like a true social experiment. And I love like the psychology of it, of them working together and also like not giving a fuck about, it's really interesting.
Doesn't it remind you, because you're the same age as me, as like when they did Real World and like the Road Rules challenges, like like it reminds me of that iconic era of MTV that like we grew up with.
Totally. And I wonder if because they've only had like a couple seasons of it, right? I think because it's still like new to their network, people haven't figured out how to like, come on and be a certain type in a way. Like people haven't figured out how to like game that system, that it feels like people are genuinely reacting to things and behaving a certain way. But I do love on that show, well, I forget what season it was, that because I think they're in Hawaii or something.
Yes.
And they're clearly smoking so much weed on that show, but they won't show it on camera. So like someone will walk into the room and you'll see like kind of in the corner like a cloud of smoke that like the cameraman's trying to like frame out. And then their eyes are just so watery and red. And you're like, that's not just drinking that they're doing. No, they're clearly high as kites and they won't show it, but they'll just be like on a puffy chair, just like melting into it.
Honestly, maybe that's sign me up. You know what I mean? If take me to Hawaii.
Right? Okay. We're going to take one last break. And when we get back, we have a couple questions submitted by listeners who need some advice. So we'll be right back with more Not Too Deep.
Not Too Deep with Grace Helbig.
Okay, Tess, we have a couple questions submitted by listeners who need some advice. And you and I will give some very unprofessional advice that you can take from or leave completely. So this person writes, A few years ago, I went on a date with a guy, which was absolutely fine, except he was a weird kisser. We never met up again, but he reached out a number of times, expressing interest in wanting to have sex with me. I always blew it off. Flash forward, I'm developing an interest in him all of a sudden. They say, I think it's mostly because I've been impressed with him professionally and personally. I'm not simply lusting after him. I find him interesting. Here's my 2-part question. Should I even bother asking him out after blowing him off for like 2 years? That seems like a dick thing to do. If the first date was only just fine and the kissing was awkward and weird, should I use that to convince myself not to ask him out?
No, absolutely not. If someone's a bad kisser, they're going to be bad in bed. It's just science. I don't make the rules.
That's true. Yeah.
And also if this person just, we've been in quarantine. It gets boring. No, I just think, I just can't stop saying no.
I know. I think if you're also, this is no disrespect, because I will do this too. I will do this to convince myself of things that I blatantly know. I will say I'm not just lusting after them when that's clearly a projection, and I'm very much like lusting after this person. But I will say it, and if I say it, it makes me seem self-aware of this thing that you could find as a loophole. But that doesn't mean it's untrue. So yeah, I think exactly like you said, kissing is an indicator of a lot of other things. It is. Emotionally and physically. And so I think hold on to that, how weird it was to the point that you didn't talk to this person for 2 years.
Yes.
Tess, are you someone that will ask about a second date if you had a good first date, or will you wait to be asked on a second date?
I used to be that person, and I have just noticed, because listen, I was in a relationship for 8 years, and so I missed like all of the dating apps and all that. So I've only been single for like a year and a half, so it's been new to me, and I have really made the most of a year and a half, let me tell you.
You're catching up quick.
Oh baby, I am having fun. But I will tell you what I've noticed is I knew before this, just with my ex and other people, that when someone wants you, they show you and they make the effort. You don't have to guess. You don't have to do that. And also, I am not going to do the emotional labor of doing all of that, especially for someone that if they want me, they can show me. So my thing is, I have a great date with you. Fine. If you want to see me again, you make the effort. And if you don't, you're not interested. And I'm not going to, I know who I am, and there's plenty of people that are interested, Yeah,
those are, you want to be wooed a bit too. Yeah. And those are, I think, healthy boundaries.
Totally.
Do you have, after now, like catching up on the dating apps, is there one thing or piece of advice that you would say to people, like, fix this on your profile, or fix the way you send a first message to someone?
I mean, I'm not really on any dating profiles right now, except for Raya, however you say it. And that one's, they're all trash.
Raya, I was on Raya for years ago for a brief stint of time. And Raya was just like, surfers or skaters or like directors, I use that term loosely, or like photographers.
I was like, wait, what are the credentials? How did you guys take a year to accept me? And I finally get on this, and this is no, thank you. No, absolutely. I thought that this was like professionals. Like, nope, there's so many DJs on there. DJs, I'm good. I'll be single forever. So I think my advice really, I don't know if it's like an epidemic. I don't know if there's like something like some mental health training that needs to happen for cis men, but like the photos that they choose, like, are so atrocious. Nobody, like the photo where it's like, again, TikTok, I'm going to send it to you after, there was this hilarious video where someone was like, the types of dudes you see on here. And it's like, this isn't my kid photo. This is me and my truck, the blurry cropped out, like me and my friends. Like, it's just, I feel like women, it's just, I'm so glad that I'm queer because folks put so much more effort into photos, and then these dudes just roll on there and put a blurry photo on, and then they're like, show me your tits, you know?
Yeah. And it's a lot of props or appendages.
Yes.
Like it's like, here's my DJ booth, here's a child, or here's like I'm gonna make sure you see this hot girl that I cropped halfway out of this photo or something.
Yes.
So you get the idea that I'm very wanted by people. I'm like, this tells more in the negative than you think it does in the positive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, last question for advice. This person writes, so I have a wedgie fetish, and I was wondering how I should deal with that. Should I be more open about it? I'm comfortable with it being my quirk and knowing that everyone has their quirks, but my issue is I don't know how to deal with it in a relationship or in a family setting. Could I also bring it up at therapy or something as well? I'm curious to hear your thoughts and advice, what I should do going forward. Well, I think bringing anything up in therapy is always a great option. Anything that you are curious about, or you have strange feelings, or you feel blurry in your brain about, that's the reason that therapy is there. It's a non-judgmental zone for anything that you want to talk outside of your head.
Exactly what you just said. Listen, everybody's into their thing. You know what I mean? Who am I? I'm never going to judge. I just think, I would probably workshop it with a therapist before family or before like that kind of setting. But, I just think I think therapy honestly is, if there's something you don't feel about, listen, I've been in therapy since I was 10, probably will be for the rest of my life. And it's a really great tool.
It's a really great tool. I know it's a luxurious tool in some formats. There's also, more cost-effective versions of therapy available too. But
even like social media, there has to be a community of like-minded.
True. Very true. And I think it's something, obviously this sounds like, there is obviously a community for this. And I think in relationships, I do think eventually it's something that should be put on the table if you get into a relationship for obvious reasons. I think it will help you and the other person that you're in a situation with, depending on their feelings about it.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this episode. Tess, thank you for making time for us. But before you go, we like to give each of our guests a personalized personalized horoscope from us to you that Melissa just put in the chat. If you want to take a look and read it out loud for everyone.
Okay, I can't wait. Okay. Dear Cancer, crab of the stars, the end of this week may unravel even more secrets to the public as Mercury retrogrades in Gemini on Saturday. At this point, just write another fucking book. The people want it.
Seriously.
I'm working on it.
Oh, thank God. 'Cause I'm like, these bad date stories have to go somewhere. They're too incredible.
I mean, post-divorce, glow up, all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're in a big and wonderful transition right now, which I think is a lot of people are going through a lot of that kind of energy, and it's needed and welcomed. Tess, where can people find you and your old MySpace page, your current TikTok page, if they don't already know?
So on social everywhere, it's at Tess Holliday with 2 L's. And my podcast is Slumber Party with Tess, and you can find my podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. This was so fun.
Thanks for having me. This was a blast.
Of course. And we'll see you guys next time on another episode of Not Too Deep. Goodbye.
Too deep, too deep, too deep, not too deep with Grace Helbig.
Not Too Deep is a production of Grace Helbig Incorporated, producer Melissa D. Montz, edited by Shireen Lani Yunus, post-production sound by Chris Henry, and an extra special thanks to Flula for the theme music.